Ah, lovely cup of coffee, right? Nothing says traditional, normal, and classic like a wonderful cup of coffee, right? Except it's 9:30 at night. What? What's that? That's a twist. That's right, a twist on the classic. See, it's not that big of a twist. Well, maybe it's not, but it also, if it continued to do this, would keep me up till maybe 3, 4 a.m., right? That's right, I'm taking something classic, something beloved, something traditional, and putting just enough of a twist on it to where it's not weird, obviously, because you probably drink coffee late at night, but it's unique. What am I talking about today? Well, that's right, we're talking about some Stonemaier Games today. You say, wait, Stonemaier Games. I know those people, right? You're talking about this crazy game right here, aren't you? No, of course not. Not that traditional game, right? Traditional people with classic stuff, right? No. No, what about that one, right? Winemaking, right? That's tradition, right? No. We're talking about traditional mechanics today. That's right, tile laying between two cities. With some twists, of course. Let's talk about those twists right now. So what comes inside of Between Two Cities by Stonemaier Games here? 3 to 7 players, also the 2-player variant, which is nice. 1 to 2-player variant, 25 minutes. It says less than 25 minutes, which I like. 8+ for the age. Look at that. Doesn't it look like the town of viticulture has just sprung up? It's not a real town, but you know what I mean. So right here in the box, we get the instruction manual and the automa for playing 1 player, right? But that's not what we're here for. We're here to see how to play this game. Here's your score meter that you don't need until the end of the game. These are what's known as duplex tiles. The yellow ones, I'll just move them for the sake of clarity for now, and I'll talk about them in a minute. Duplex tiles. And then the purple tiles are the regular building tiles. So what you would do is there are 3 rounds of this game and 3 rounds only, so it cannot last that long. You would randomize yourselves, right? And then you would sit with someone to your left and to your right. Also, colors are pretty great because they're these screen printed meeples. Taj Mahal, I'm not entirely sure, that might be the Forbidden City. You've got the Colosseum here. You've got the St. Louis Arch, or probably something foreign, I don't know. Pretty cool stuff. You know, you got the Eiffel Tower and then the pyramids, right? These are great meeple, capital meeples, or monumeeples. Monumeeples, we'll go with that. So what you do is, it's very simply laid out on the back here. Turn 1. Draw 7 square building tiles. This is after you randomize yourself, of course. Everyone gets a reference card in here, which we'll look at those in a minute. And you can randomize yourselves how you sit. If you're playing with 3 people, it doesn't matter. But 7 people, obviously, you're going to want to randomize if you play multiple times in a row. Draw 7 building squares. These are the building squares right here. You will draw 7 of these tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You'll then look at them. You'll say, okay, well, do I want a factory? Do I want a house, a residential place? Don't want an entertainment place, you know, a bar or a tavern, any of this stuff, right? And you pick 2 tiles. You pick 1 to play on one side, 1 to play on the other. You do not have to decide until you pass it. So then your first turn, you'll pass to the left, so you'll place your other one in between the 2 of you. Here you're sitting, and here the other person's sitting. Between you, put that right on top to let them know you're done. This one just goes on the scoreboard, by the way. Say, okay, flip it up. So now you have 2 cities. You've got 1 to your left and 1 to your right. You have to make a 16 by 16 grid that looks something like this. So let's just say we place the tavern here and the factory here. Well, this one's pretty simple, right? Because we're not doing a whole lot. But the other person placed the factory as well, because remember, they're going to be placing tiles on your city. They're going to be placing tiles on your city because it's a shared city. And that's what's so cool about this game. And that's why the mechanics just work so well. Rinse and repeat, right? So we get, and I'll just put some of these out and explain kind of what happens. First turn, you're going to get, I'm trying to remember exactly how many it is. I think you'll get, yeah, it should be 4. Because then you do the duplex, you do 2 duplexes. So I'll just show you the duplexes on the next round. The next round, you do the duplexes, and what that means is everyone draws 3 duplexes. You'll play 1 to the right, 1 to the left. You'll get rid of the other 2. So the other person would play, let's just say they play the duplex there. And by the way, all the duplexes do not go up and down like this. Some of them go like this, and that matters. You actually have to play everything with the orientation correctly. So you can't spin anything around to make it fit. And there's a reason for that when it comes to these duplexes. So everybody plays their duplexes. You do it again. You draw 7 more tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You will keep doing this to where you place out city tiles until you have a 16 by 16 grid. You can't have more than 16 or less than 16. I probably did it wrong the first time then if I don't have enough tiles right now, but the point is at the end of the game, you're going to end up with two 16 by 16 tile cities, just like this. Now I'll explain exactly what these tiles do and how you score in a minute, because what I've built here is a horribly, horribly bad scoring city, because I'm grabbing them just kind of randomly. Let me get these out here, and then I want to show you exactly what has happened, because this is how the end result will look at the end of the game. Everyone will be sat with these two cities, one to the right, one to the left. You score both. What happens is the person sitting in the middle will grab the city to their left and score that city. Well, how do the cities score? How do the tiles score? Let's go through that right now. Here's the reference card for the city scoring. First, these yellow buildings, which would be the shops, they score 2, 5, 10, and 16. So for each one you have in a straight line. If you change the direction of that straight line and make like a cross type thing, they only count each building once. You don't get to count the one in the middle twice. Let's just say you had another one here. You wouldn't get to count 1, 2, 3. It's just 1, 2, and then 1. So that would be worth 5 points and 2 points if you had that. Right now, it's currently only worth 5 because of the straight line of yellows. Factories, they're written kind of weird, but the city with the most factories in it, which is clearly this one over here because it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cities with the most factories in it are worth 4 points apiece, each factory. City with the second most factories are worth 3 points apiece. Everybody else is worth 2 points apiece. So that's pretty nice to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 4 is 24 points for your factories there. Taverns are kind of like the Takedo set collecting mechanic where there are 4 different set types of taverns. Let me see if I can find the last one. It is a music note right here. Well, that's not it, but there's a music note one. I know, I just saw it. Here it is. So these are the 4 different symbols. So if you have one type of tavern, it's 1 point, 2 types is 4, 3 types is 9, 4 types is 17. You can have multiple sets though. So you can have, 8 of these tiles, and if they're different, you'll have 36, 34 points from tiles of taverns. Blue, these are the office buildings. They're just worth points for being in your city. So 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 21, etc. Right? If you get that many in the place. Now, here's the weird thing about it. See this right here? It means that if they are adjacent to a tavern like this, they become worth 1 more point. Now, it does not work like this. I just want to make sure that everyone knows this because this was a little bit of point of contention where people weren't sure. This office building is surrounded by 3 taverns. It is still only worth 1 extra bonus point. It doesn't get a point per red building. It just gets a point if it's adjacent to a red building. That's important to know. That being said, though, this can happen and multiple blue buildings can share the red building as an extra point. So this would be worth 2 and this would be worth 2 if you're counting the extra points like that. Next in last, no, I'm sorry, not last, but next is parks. Parks just have to be touching. So 2 for 1, 8 for 2 that are touching, 12, 13, 14. So it goes up really fast and then it starts to slow down to where they only become worth 1 more point after each time, after 14. So then it goes 2 to 8, which is huge. Then 12, which is 4, that's all right. And then 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So it's kind of slow. There's a good optimal number you want to get of parks there, obviously because you're building a city, not Central Park. Last but not least is the houses. That's the brown ones right here. These are worth 1 point per different type of tile in your city. So there's 5 different other types of tiles that you can have in your city, which means that each of your houses would be worth 5 points if you had all 5 tiles in your city. So they could become worth a lot. However, if you ever have them positioned next to a factory, they're worth 1 point no matter how many tiles are in your city. That's because nobody wants to live next to a factory. And that's it. That's the game. That's how you play between 2 cities. Rinse and repeat. Traditional with a twist. So this is scoring for a 6-person game. All right, let's just say this is what it looks like. So there's 6 cities out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? The only other person that's not playing is gold. Now here's how this scores, right? The lowest city is the one you get to claim. So let's just say that I'm playing as the purple and black. Those are my 2 cities, right? That I have purple and black. Well, I do not get to count from my score 30. I get to count from my score as 27. Now, here's the thing. If the person who is also controlling black is controlling silver, we then go for our highest point city because we're tied. If your both lowest point cities are tied, you go to the highest point one to score. So let's just say they're controlling black and I'm controlling green as my other city. Well, then I win because I've got a higher city. Does that make sense? Then let's just say that's not the case. Let's say that I'm controlling purple and white. Now at this point, my lower point city is 24, which means I'm not even in the runnings because someone else has a 30 and a 31. So the scoring is a little bit funky like that. Basically, it's easier to explain in words than it is to explain in a breakdown like that, because the idea is your lowest city is the one you get to score. And if that's a tie, you move to your highest point city. And if that's a tie, there's a last and final tiebreaker right here, which is, apologize, because I want to make sure I read this in verbatim. Your final score is the lower of the two scores of your cities, and the player with the highest score wins. Tied players compare the scores of their highest scoring cities. Second one, winner adds and compares the quantity of buildings by type in both of their cities, starting at the top of the player aid and moving down until the tie is broken. So that's how you move down and break ties. It's a knacky scoring system, but it's really good, and it needs to be knacky like that because it stops you from just basically messing your other player over by not even trying on one city. That's why it's called Between Two Cities, because it forces you to play with two cities. So that's Between Two Cities. I mean, you're talking about a pedigree from these two letters alone, the SM, they're Stonemaier Games. Here's the thing about this though. Like I mentioned before, this is not made by Jamie, this is made by Ben Ross and Matthew O'Malley. But it's got the seal of approval by Stonemaier Games and that wonderful production quality and art style. This looks like some town you would see in viticulture, right? So it's a great game. I love the way it plays. I love the idea of building two cities, side by side, because it stops a few things. Like I've been talking about this whole time, it takes a traditional idea and turns it into something, non-traditional. You have to flip an idea on its head. For instance, you can't just play to make one city better because you score your lowest city. And so you have to have this weird matrix where your lowest city and your highest city are either the same exact points, or your higher city has to be, let's see how I can explain this. Your higher city and your lower city need to be better than anybody else's lower city that they score, and their higher city in case you tie. So you have to have both of your cities be better. And it's a hard thing to do. In a three-player game, it's really weird because you're playing this triangle where everybody's playing with each other, right? I mean, there's nobody you're not playing with in a three-player game. So that's an interesting dynamic because you're playing with this person who's playing with that person who you're also playing with. Up to a 7-player game when you're playing with, only other two people and everybody else is playing with different people. So it's a lot of different dynamics in that whole two-sided city building thing. Let's talk about production quality. Obviously, Stonemaier Games, it's a good quality there. The little screen printed cities for tiles, those are great. You could have done that with just a little card or a token, but they didn't. They went with the extra mile, of course. The expansion for this is coming soon, so I look forward to checking that out as well. I think it's called Capitals, but that's Between Two Cities. It's a quick game, easy game to teach, really easy game to learn. It's not the easiest game to master because you have to work with other people, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Because when you really start getting those negotiations going, whoa, put that in our city instead of that one over there. Think about this, look at this. I mean, at its core, it's a little bit simple. Obviously, there's only so many ways to score, but I imagine the expansion will add more things to it. So should you check out Between Two Cities? Well, for the price tag, yes. For the time, 25 minutes, yes. And that's an accurate time. We played this at game night. The other night at game night, we tried something new where we played like quicker games. We've got 7 played. This one was a hit. I think we played it once or twice. Then we played it the next night, 2, 3, 4 times in a row. And it was just a really great game. So that's Between Two Cities by Stonemaier Games. Go and get it right now. No, really. Like, go to Cool Stuff or somewhere. Or Stonemaier Games. That's it for this time on the latest retro here at the Dice Tower. For more reviews, check out the link below. I'm sorry, there's not a link below. Check out on the latest retros channel. There's a playlist where I put all the videos that I've done for the Dice Tower together. So just type that in, go to the latest retro YouTube channel. You'll see a playlist collecting all the Dice Towers videos in one place where you can see more of the stuff we've done. Also check out Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Till next time, we'll see ya.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.